Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of Josh's Car Corner. You know, there are some places on earth what you might say you've found heaven on earth. I think I've found it here today. I am in Denver, Colorado. I'm on my way to my new home in Arizona, and I had to stop here. If you've not heard of this place today, you're about to get an education, but if you look around, I am surrounded by Holden, Utes, and Wagons right now. This is one of the coolest places I have ever been. It's a place called Hand Utes. It's here in Denver, Colorado. It's owned by a guy named Randy Reese. What he does is he buys shells of Utes and Wagons from Australia. They have to take the drivetrains out of them because you can't ship a running car with an engine. You have to take the drivetrain out. They ship them across the Pacific Ocean. He picks them up and gets them here to Colorado. And then he goes through the process of converting them to left-hand drive, putting American drivetrains in them, and getting them registered to be sold here in the United States as cars. Now there's a lot of steps to this, some which he asked me not to disclose, but the reality of it is it's all 100% legal. Once it's built, it is a registered legal car using the actual legal VIN or an assigned VIN depending on what kind of car and what year it is. And they're perfectly legal to sell anywhere in the United States when he's finished with them. What he does is he'll find like a G8 or a GTO depending on what year Ute it is. In one particular case, an SS. And what he'll do is they'll get the whole front clip out of it and the drivetrain, because what they have to do is they have to take the firewall out of the US car, and they have to take the firewall out of this car and swap it around, obviously, because all the holes for everything are going to be swapped side to side. They also have to take out the steering rack, the gas tank, lots of other things that I couldn't even remember all properly, and put it all together, and then either give you the choice of the original Holden front end, or if you would like a Pontiac front end if it's the right year, or you can even do a Chevy front end off a Caprice cop car, or an SS if it's a new enough one, or you can get one from the Middle East because they also do Utes over in the UAE and a couple other Arab states and in South Africa as Chevrolets. So you can get any front end you want as long as it fits the year that you're buying. You can get the interior how you want it out of a Chevy or a Pontiac or the original Holden, whatever. But the coolest thing is they're Utes. I mean, you can't get Utes any other way than this that I would trust. There's one other guy that makes them, and I haven't ever talked to him and don't know too much about him, but what he does is he just chops the front end off a Ute shell and puts the American front end on and does it that way. That's chopping structure though, and Randy doesn't do that. He believes that it's better to keep the original chassis intact, because the one thing that is the same across all of the cars, American, Australian, whatever, is the chassis. So you don't have to worry about changing anything chassis-wise. It's just changing body panels, electronics, and the drivetrain. The other thing is, yeah, the electronics are completely backwards. Obviously, the wiring harnesses from the Australian car are designed for everything being on the right-hand side. So you have to put American harnesses in it. Then you have to make the American harness line up with any of the Australian extras that we didn't get. Like the car I'm standing next to right now, this was actually a car at SEMA last year. It's a 2014 HSV Maloo, and it's got a 6.2 in it, LS3. It's got a 6-speed manual. This car's hot. It only has 200 miles on it. He told me what happened is in Australia, they sold it new. The front end got clipped by something, so they bought the whole shell, shipped it over here, got replacement parts, put American engine back in it, and put a new fold-in front clip on it and resold it. This car still has 200 miles on it. This is a brand new Ute, brand spanking new. It's unbelievable all the toys that you got. Now, it's because it's a 2014, it's got a lot of the same things that a Chevy SS has on it. It's got the much, much better upgraded interior. It's got electric parking brake. It's got a navigation system. It's got parking assist. It's got the backup camera in it. The Holdens are so cool. They've got their daytime running lamps are down here, right above the fog lights, and it isn't the headlights, but the headlights are just gorgeous. There's nothing about this car that isn't spectacular. And he took it to SEMA, and Randy said that some guys from HSV actually came over to the SEMA show and saw this car, and they said they were so impressed with the build quality and the workmanship, they couldn't tell the difference. As far as they were concerned, they could have made this car. That's how exact it is. It's such an amazing job. And there's so many other Maloos and other Utes here, obviously. I mean, he pulled up this morning in the green one. This is an R8 325. Now here's a little education about how the Australians do things. They rate power in kilowatts. So if you see a number on the back of a Ute or a Wagon, that number denotes the kilowatt power. So this one's got a 325, so that's an LS3 that's making about 437 horsepower. There's a black HSV Club Sport Wagon over here, ultra rare. That's a 317. That's also got an LS3, but that's 426 horsepower. There's this one here that's an atomic green one. This is a 2012. This is an SS before the SS came out, because they obviously went to VF, or the next generation of the chassis, in Australia before we did. So that's a 2012, but it's basically an SS. There's another Striker Blue VE Ute back here. There's actually an old VY Ute back in the corner here, which is based on the GTO platform. Another Wagon back there. That's just a Calais, but it's a Series 2, and it's got the interior, really nice interior in it. But the fact is, if you ever wanted the cool versions of the Australian cars that we just never got, you can get them now. This is your opportunity. I mean, he builds these for customers and he sells them. And I mean, I'll be honest, they're not cheap, because it costs a lot of money to get them over here and re-engineer them. I mean, it's a lot of time spent doing it. But the fact is, if you ever wanted a Ute, if you ever wanted a Wagon version, which I think is the sexiest version personally, I would have that Club Sport Wagon in a heartbeat. This is where you got to go. I mean, he does great work. These cars are in fantastic condition. Everything is mint, everything is beautiful, and they're just, I mean, if you had one of these, you get all the nods. Take it to any car show, take it out on any cruise night, you get the looks, you win, that's it, hands down. So these cars are amazing, and I think it's so cool that he's doing this. It is not an easy thing to do, to get these shells over here and get them reappropriated and get them to the point where they can be legally titled to be sold in the US. But he does it, and he does a great job. And I wanted to stop by and give him a little free publicity for what he does, because I think it's great. I hope he gets a lot more done. He's told me he's done 12 or 13 cars now, and some of these are for sale right now. The SEMA car is for sale. The dark green one is for sale. I think the light green one is sold. The white Series 2 Ute is sold. One of the Wagons is looking for a home. Basically, you need to call him and he will give you all the information. He also has a website, lefthandutes.com, and his phone number is 303-287-9093. You need to call Randy and he'll get you set up. You can have whatever you want. He'll order it for you, and it'll take some time, but he can get anything you want made and done, automatic, manual, LS2, LS3, LSA, LSX, whatever engine you want. He can make work in one of these cars. Give him a call, and I hope you've enjoyed this brief little episode. I could stand in here all day and just look at these cars because they are that amazing. Unfortunately, I've got some miles to get under my belt today, so I'm going to take off, but I hope you enjoyed this little episode, and we will see you next time.